Okay, I'm back here. This is to verify Evalion's claim that it was obvious to everybody when she said Hitler was a really evil person and Stalin wasn't as evil, that she was just quoting the mass media. Um, at the time when this occurred on Twitter, and I'll show you that. Seriously, what is your problem? When I said Stalin was worse than even Hitler himself, I was quoting the mass media. Couldn't you tell by my tone of voice changing that I was being sarcastic? And then she proceeds to insult me and call me a stupid guy. And she's still into this defending Stalin crap. Number one, why does she have a Russian name now? Is she tied to Russia in some way? Because we are talking about Stalin here, right? And we are changing the dialogue from, I mean, let's put it this way, in the movement that I've been around, most people are not willing to give Russia or Stalin a whole lot of credit for doing anything but helping the Jews, a la England and the US, to destroy Germany. Now, she makes a video with her new boyfriend named Red Fascist Dictator to basically poke holes in that. And in the first 15 seconds of the video, she's quoted as saying Hitler was very evil. And I'm going to let you hear that. And let's re-quote what she says to me in this Twitter message. When I said Stalin was worse than even Hitler himself, I was quoting the mass media. Couldn't you tell by my tone of voice changing that I was being sarcastic? So what I'm going to do is we're going to listen to 45 seconds. The first 15 seconds she's going to say what she says. And then we're going to listen to 45 seconds in. Is there any indication that she's talking through the mass media here? There is no specificity as to whether these words are theirs, hers, or somebody else's. But regardless, she's saying them as if they are true. So we are going to look at that now. Gotta scroll down a bit. Okay, here we go. First 15 seconds, guys. Hope you can hear well. We'll do it a few times if necessary.
So this video is titled Why Stalin Wasn't Evil.
The video is titled Why Stalin Wasn't Evil. Does she say anything about quoting a book? Let's see if she says anything quoting a book in a few seconds.
Stalin is often demonized as one of the most evil men who has ever lived.
Some people call him a mass murderer, a psychopath, who was worse than Hitler himself.
Okay, look at her face. Listen to her voice. Does she give any indication she's kidding? Now I'm going to take it back and let you watch that again. And then we'll watch 45 seconds. And you can get a feeling if she made up for that by doing something later.
Why Stalin wasn't evil.
Okay, let's start at the very first. Start at the very first so we know exactly.
Some people call him a mass murderer. So this video is titled Why Stalin Wasn't Evil.
The video is titled Why Stalin Wasn't Evil. Doesn't say who wrote the words. They're reading the words, but they could have written the words and then read them.
Stalin is often demonized as one of the most evil men who has ever lived.
Some people call him a mass murderer, a psychopath, who was worse than Hitler himself.
Okay. Sorry, Evalion. There's no indication you think that's funny or is a joke. You just are repeating lines and with a stone face. And I'll let you listen to it one more time, and this time we'll go to 45 seconds. Then I'll rehash what I think.
The video is titled Why Stalin Wasn't Evil.
Stalin is often demonized as one of the most evil men who has ever lived.
Some people call him a mass murderer, a psychopath, who was worse than Hitler himself.
Since the Cold War, Western propaganda has intentionally misrepresented him as so.
In this video, I will debunk the most common lies spread about Joseph Stalin via propaganda.
First, let's talk about the Holodomor.
The story about the deliberate starvation of Ukrainians, perpetuated by the Western media, is as flimsy as Iraq possessing weapons of mass destruction.
Okay, so not only is she's not, they're not talking about the Jew at all in this video, okay? So one has to wonder, she gives a reason why she thinks this is an important issue later, but the connection we have always made in this movement is that the Jewish communists inflicted the Holodomor on the Ukraine after they'd inflicted all kinds of other evils all over Russia. Now, she says, in this video, I'm going to make this claim. Does she say anybody else wrote in this video? Did anybody else write this video other than my boyfriend and her? No. So, seriously, what is your problem? When I said Stalin was worse than even Hitler himself, I was quoting the mass media. You didn't say you were quoting the mass media, honey? Couldn't you tell by my tone of voice changing that I was being sarcastic? Your tone of voice didn't change, honey. Then she seems to have a need to act like Stalin didn't have Jewish wives. Folks, I'm sure there's Jewish media that claims that Stalin didn't have Jewish wives, but I have heard over and over again Stalin had Jewish wives. We can study this and to know for sure. I have trouble believing Evalion has studied it to the depth to know this answer for sure. I'm sure she's decided to believe that for whatever reason, especially if they're promoting Stalin as a good guy and not working with Jewish England or Jewish USA. We talk about why Hitler attacked Russia, why they held off, what did it prove? I don't think it really proved anything. I actually believe the Jews wanted Hitler to take over Europe to really get everybody scared about Hitler. So they wanted Stalin not to get in his way. Because remember, in the beginning, the USA wasn't in the war. So they had to ratchet up the fear porn, right? But there can be all sorts of reasons why they didn't fight that were mutually beneficial. And it doesn't mean anything more than strategically they did this. Obviously, they both had designs on taking the other out eventually. It's clear Hitler did. Hitler knew the main enemy was Russia if he could convince England and the US not to fight him. The enemy was Russia. Communism had a goal of spreading across Europe, stated. They had just tried to spread across Europe and Germany, and Hitler had stopped them in the 20s. She's an advocate for Stalin. There's no strong evidence that suggests Stalin planned to invade. He said like she's some sort of done detailed analysis on this. I just don't believe it. There's every reason to think, because Stalin was on the side of America and England, that they were working together. And that Stalin didn't make this decision by himself. He made it with the help of Jewry. Jewry that was tied to England and America. They all decided that Stalin would work with Hitler in the beginning. Just gonna go by why, but why must I be the Hitler girl? Okay, so I say you really need to do a video to make this clear. More or less I say that. First she says, Hitler was a great man, a phenomenal leader, and a true revolutionary. But why must I be a Hitler girl? Why can't I look at other historical figures too? Now this could be totally innocent, or she may have an assignment not to touch Hitler anymore. Me being not a trusting goy, nothing against Evalion as a person, but as a leader who's done some weird shit, been enabled by the Jewish media to an extent many people haven't, I have to worry about who's behind the curtain and working with her. When for some reason she doesn't want to talk about Hitler anymore, and she talked all summer about Hitler, that's strange. Now, this could be her wanting to be independent of anything an older person suggests. So it could be innocent. I'm just weighing the variables here. I already made Hitler videos. It's time to switch. So it's time to switch your name to Bipakunavka, some Russian name. You have nothing to do with Russia. Now, here's what she says about the Ukraine and why it's important to push this anti-Holodomor dialogue. I already made Hitler videos. It's time to switch it up a bit. If you actually fact check my Stalin video, I'm not wrong about anything. It's hard to know what people are right about. You get expert opinion all over the place on Stalin. The Holodomor is very similar to the Holocaust. The Jews in Western Ukraine are using it to make Goys in Ukraine fight and kill Russians. So instead of debunking Stalin, which is dubious, talk about the Jews who actually fucking did it and tell them not to blame other Goy. You resurrect the Goy against Goy shit here, but then you're using Stalin as a Goy. Go to where the source is of the problem. Jew propagandists are pushing a Goy-on-Goy conflict and using the Holodomor to do it. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'll take her word for it. I'm not sure if I really get this. These mass murders are all Jewish lies to manipulate us into killing for them. They used the Holocaust as an excuse to further destroy Germany. Now Holodomor is being used to make Goys hate Russians. I don't think that's being used in the West. Now, maybe used in Ukraine, but it's still a Jewish problem. And you don't have to resurrect an evil person like Stalin, who worked with Jewry in the form of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. You don't have to try and prop up Stalin as a good Goy working for Jews. He wasn't a good Goy if he was working for Jews. So she says she knows about false flags. Here I say, you have demonized Muslims a lot, and much of the catalyst for Muslim hate is globalist false flag capers. Even if Muslims are an issue, the real issue is who's letting them in. I know, I was fooled. You hear it here first, folks. Evalion was fooled. All her anti-Muslim propaganda and anti-black propaganda was misdirection because she was fooled. Now let's see what she does from here on out. Again, her Russian name may give you a clue what her agenda is. Evalion, I'm always willing to be convinced I'm wrong. And at the end, this is what she says. You're wrong about a lot of stuff in my videos. So my response was, yes, of course I'm wrong. I'm speculating. And the only reason I am speculating is because everybody else is way too trusting. And I've come to the conclusion we have a top-down co-opted leadership problem. Now, I speculate just to try and bring out the truth. I don't know all the truth, so I guess it's the truth because you guys are keeping half your shit behind the curtain. You got it? I give a long explanation about a few things. Let her know that the video does not exonerate her. She's guilty. She intentionally misled us about the video. At the least, it was a huge oversight that she should have known better about. But you cannot ignore the very real possibility. Evalion has got a change of assignment to prop up a Stalin, to undo the Holodomor as a huge issue, while ignoring the Holocaust and focusing her agenda and much of her advocacy on people in the Ukraine, maybe? I don't know. I have to believe that Russian name has something to do with that. And whose idea was it? Evalion, who is behind your curtain? And with that, more questions were raised, really, than answered from that Twitter interaction, but it's a start, and I do appreciate that Evalion was willing to confront me and try and answer the questions. But the questions are whining at this point. And again, I admit, I speculate a lot. I know I got a lot of things wrong, but you guys are doing some really weird shit in front of the camera, and I'm trying to figure out who's helping you do it and who's getting you to do it. That's all I got to say right now. Y'all have a good one.